entertainment, insights. Don't take life too seriously. Welcome to Brainsky Unleashed. Hello, and welcome to Brainsky Unleashed. I am so beyond excited for this episode. I have been waiting for this one. There has been some scheduling conflicts. It's been something, but this is that one episode that just comes through in your life and you go, man, I can't wait. Today we have David Sowers. David, believe it or not, cares more about my shit than even I do, because David is a co-founder of Royal Restrooms. Now, why would I get excited about that? Well, if you know me, you know that this is some seriously exciting crap, pun intended. So, David, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Thomas. I appreciate it. And, I collect people's crap for a living. I mean, that's literally what we do.
That is disgusting, and yet a dream come true, because, many years ago, before I bought a business I shouldn't have gotten into in the dental field, I was looking at a company that could haul waste, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it could
Yeah.
suck poop out of a septic tank. And I thought, man, poop is, it doesn't matter whether there's a recession or not. People are going to excrete. And you have like an ideal business. And I think I read somewhere it's like a $1.5 billion industry.
It's a huge industry now. COVID really brought a lot of awareness, but really, I mean, it's one of the most private things we still do. I mean, we want to do it in comfort, anxiety free. You want something that is normal, that doesn't create an obstruction, I guess you can say. You want to do it fully.
Hey, I mean, you want to be able to let it all out, right?
Uh, Absolutely. Just a
So you, yeah, obviously you must have started out somewhere. Well, did you start with just like a single porta pot? Or did you buy a couple of porta? Did somebody like con you and say, listen, you got to get into this business? Or did you always have a passion for cleaning crap?
no. It fell upon me. It was by complete accident. My girls were potty training, and we went to a local festival here in Savannah, and the the experience was just traumatic. It was really overwhelming for the girls to use a porta potty and explain to them what this was, how it worked, and it really made for an uncomfortable situation. And, you know, believe it or not, like you said, I got peed on, which completely upset me. And so I sought out an alternative solution, and went home and drew out kind of a restroom on a trailer. And it wasn't
Mhm.
for about a year, but I took it to my business partner, Robert Glisson, and he was really the catalyst that jump started the business. He was like, let's do this. This is a great idea. There's definitely a need. And so we built a couple restroom trailers and just, pitched it out to our friends for oyster roast and Super Bowl parties and weddings. And before you knew it, everybody wanted one. You had to have it.
I mean, listen, I have, in my past, I have, um, unloaded, in nicer portable restrooms, trailers with a sink and a toilet and a little bit more privacy and cleanliness and all that. And I mean, if I'm going to be somewhere out in public and a regular conventional crapper is not available, I'm having fun with this. I'm just telling you. Uh, and to me, what you have is like the next best thing. And so, in as I was doing my homework and realizing just who you were and what you did, you are not simply dropping off porta pots for people to, do their business in. You are delivering throne rooms for people to really unwind, let it all go, and have a clean, more comfortable experience. God bless you for that. I mean, that is a great idea.
Hey, like I said earlier, we all like to be comfortable. We all like to go somewhere nice. And the fact of the matter is that all too many times, event planners, they put on this festival, they've got this big push to get everybody there. And, if you don't complete it, a restroom is really a main focus point and focal point for a lot of people. And if it's not up to the standard, people will leave. Nobody wants to go to the restroom that's not clean, that is not functioning. So, when you don't have that alternative and you use a traditional porta potty, you know, quite simply, people are just, they're unfulfilled. They're not satisfied with that alternative. They want something more. They demand something more. And, when you put all that effort into putting on an event, doing, you know, everything that's done, you want to keep people there. You want to keep people happy. You don't want it to be, you know, tarnished by, some poop.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, look, you're not wrong. You know, let's just think for a moment. I want everyone in my audience, because I'm just this disgusting freak and decide I want to just do this to you. I want you to just close your eyes for a moment and just think about what you see when you walk into a conventional blue or green porta pot. I mean, the first thing you're going to do is you naturally look down, and you are now looking down at a tank of blue water completely marred with everyone else's artwork. And that is artwork that nobody wants to look at. For your product, do you have that experience? Do you walk into that?
No, absolutely not. We do not have any kind of mounding, TP there in the bottom of our tanks. We have real functioning flushing toilets. So when you sit down on, well, sit down on a throne. You sit down on something that's normal, that, you can sit there for a second. If you need to pull out your phone, you can pull out your phone. You can do your business and go about your day. Wash your hands, clean up after yourself, check your hair, look at your makeup, walk out the door.
Like the current front runner in the election, former president, you can literally go to your facility and poop tweet in privacy and comfort. Again, these are all just excellent features to your and benefits to your product. So let's get into that for a second. You're a franchise, right? So how would people get involved? And do you generally look for certain regions, certain markets? What do you look for as far as a franchisee to say, I think you're a really good fit for our shit?
That's a great question. I think, we're very fortunate and blessed. We don't have a huge sales team. We don't really go out and market our franchise to sell, but I mean, it's an absolute credit to all of our business owners. The majority of requests that we get are already in territories. I would say probably 85% of our franchise requests are from someone's done a great job in their area, and they want to own the business. They want to do this business because it's made such an impression on them. So a large part of
Okay.
those leads have come from, our areas that we've serviced. And we'd really like to branch out a little bit more. And we need to be up in the Northeast is where we really need to focus on.
Interesting. I happen to live in the Northeast. Now, are the people that you mainly franchise with, are these current porta potty and poop holing providers? Or do you generally get people off the street who go, you know what, I crap in my life and I'd like to remove other people's crap?
Well, no, none of our operators have any prior experience in the sanitation business. Most all of our people are, they're startups, they're entrepreneurs. They've seen a great idea. They want to do something a little bit different. This has got a really good work-life balance. So, you know, as much as you put into it, as much as you're going to get out of it. We do a
Yeah.
lot of lead generation through the website and proposals from a marketing and brand awareness side, but really it's the boots on the ground and who's going to go out there and find the business and talk to people. We're very community based and community oriented, and we're looking for people that want to have an impact in their community, and give back to that community that provides for them. We Each of our franchise offices are required to do an in-kind donation to area nonprofits and of $25,000 each so that we can help the Buddy Walks, the Leukemia Foundation, the, the March of Dimes. We want people to be involved in their community and give back. So that's really one of the first steps is we want people who are involved in the community and want to leave a legacy, want to be an owner operator in a business.
So when you say 25,000 in kind, are we talking about, handing out a check or multiple checks, a cash, or are you talking about providing the service at no charge as a donation?
No. So when we say in kind, we want to provide, we want to be a part of that event. We want to be a part of that organization. So we're not actually handing out cash. We're donating our product
Sure.
to these events to help them raise the money and help them achieve their success.
I
And
see.
we
Okay.
found that best fosters that relationship within the community as well.
So, I mean, you're very heavily seated within, it looks like some of the West, Northwest, and Southeast of the United States. I would agree, just based on what I was looking at from your website, it looks like you don't have much of anything going on in the Northeast, which is where all the action's at, unintended.
Mhm.
But what would someone expect to look for as far as maybe an annual take home, a net profit on a business like this? There's got to be some sort of average. Now, is it an average per region? Or is it an average per state?
It's usually the number of trailers that you have kind of indicate what the value is. A typical franchise that has somewhere around 25 trailers or so, 20 to 25 trailers, their their annual revenue is usually somewhere between 900 and 1.2 million. Um,
Okay, but where are they net?
Well, that depends upon when where they are in that franchise process. It usually takes us
Okay,
somewhere around 2 to 3 years to pay off a trailer.
okay,
So if you're looking at when you have debt on the trailers, because it's like buying a new car every time you buy a trailer, you're looking sometimes from a 30% return on investment to later on closer to that 55, 60%.
okay. So, what is a typical capex expenditure if you are in one of these businesses? Your capital expenditure is a trailer. I mean, that is obviously a big
Yes.
thing. So, I mean, would you expect that, adding one, two, three, what would the number be per year that you would more or less expect to see?
Well, typically in your first year, we typically range somewhere around that $300,000 cap mark. And each year after that, depending upon your growth and how quickly you decide that you know, you move and you put into it, you're looking at about 4 to 6 trailers every year until you kind of, level off a little bit. And a typical operating company that's got 25 trailers, you might have maybe 3 employees and a couple part-time people. So
Okay.
as long as you're working that by yourself, you've got a pretty good manage day-to-day stuff. And the great thing is you just continue to produce, because festivals and events are typically annual, so it's repeat business. And as long as you continue to do a good job and you know don't kind of just level out and just I feel like I've got it, I don't need to show anymore. Um, you continue to get that business and you continue to grow, and more people, uh, start to realize the benefit of what a sanitary restroom is like. You're kind of you've kind of set the bar high for everyone else, and others want to follow that.
What is the maintenance reliability on these trailers? When do they generally start to break down after how many years or how many uses?
That is again one of those questions that really deals in how much you use it. A trailer for just events or weddings only, you may use it 30 to 40 times a year. However,
Mm,
that same trailer, if you put it on a long-term rental, 30 or 40 uses it's used the same amount in 1 month.
right.
So it really depends upon how you've dictated your usage. So your newer trailers, you usually go a couple of years without having to do a major maintenance. Now, if you Once those trailers are used, your new trailers are now used for your weddings and your more VIP events, and the other ones go to your longer term facilities. And with those, it's your typical maintenance. You have faucets that break, you have stairs that break, you have doors that break, air conditioner repairs. So it's not something that is out of budget. Is just as long as you stay up with it. You stay out in front of it and you do the proper prep and maintenance, you shouldn't have any major cost incurred.
Okay. And now, as far as that net profit goes, I mean, it sounds to me like you're not really going to be looking at any real true profitability in those first maybe couple of years because you're putting so much money into it. Albeit, depending on how you're financed, you may have some sort of cash flow that allows you to make some money in the process, which would be great.
Yes.
But once trailers are paid off, obviously now, the more you use these things, the more money they make you. So is it fair to say that you may be looking uh, at at uh, at a bottom net profit of 30%, or is it less than that?
Um, no, you know, usually most of our offices start turning some type of, their break even point is somewhere between 6 and 8 months from a
Okay.
cash standpoint. So yeah, you're not receiving your full revenue
Mhm.
from those sources because you're reinvesting the money, but you're producing a solid, you know, uh, 30% on what you're doing as long as you're operating correctly. Um,
Okay.
Now, as far as expenditures, capital expenditures, those are assets. So you can't, you don't want to write those off necessarily as expenses.
Right. No, right, of course. So, I'm just thinking in terms of, what is the resale value of business? If a business owner wanted to get into this and, if you have a 5-year agreement with the franchise, but they wanted to sell, they had something, maybe they wanted to do something else in their lives, they didn't fall in love with poop. Um, how is that valued? That's obviously, I assume, has to go through you as far as permission goes. Would that then trigger an event where the next buyer would be, locked into 5 years from his point? Like, how would that work if somebody wanted to get
Yes,
out?
we usually start a whole new franchise agreement over when we've sold within the organization. And the well, one of the beauty things is we've actually only had a few people sell, but that's because they've retired.
Right.
They've been in the business for 15, 12 years and they've exited because they've retired and sold their business. And in a lot of ways, it's really nice to have new blood in an older market like that because they bring that new energy that is so vital to the success. So many times us as entrepreneurs, we're 150, 200% gun ho. But then once we grab a little success and we, you know, have something that we feel like we can lose, we kind of settle in and hold back and we're not as aggressive as we once were. We tend to want to, we start to have that fear of losing stuff or things being taken away. And instead of that all balls out, let me go. And
Right.
so it's been, um, it's been nice to see new blood in the organization. But as far as to answer your question about franchise, the FDD changes every year. We grow, we see new things. We have to keep up with the law, so we make new offices sign a new franchise agreement, and we basically just kind of start over. But the overall general terms they have not changed since our inception.
Okay.
We still do a
And
six
so if
percent on
i-
gross.
okay, and if somebody did want to get out and they come to the end of their term, they of course they could keep all the equipment. They just have to take your name off of it, and then they market themselves as their own thing. It's their equipment and everything, right?
That's correct.
Basically. Oh, all right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
just a couple of basic questions and then wrap it up. You've got 20 trailers, you're doing great, business is good, you're loving life. It's a completely different lifestyle than the 9 to 5 job that made you just hate life. You get to spend more time with your family, even go to some concerts, and it's just an overall amazing lifestyle, even though you're the guy that hauls the crap. But you got to store these trailers somewhere. Is that something that you help set up? I mean, there's obviously most people don't, they can't store 20 trailers in their yard.
No, we've got, a lot of people buy storage yards, they buy land. Um, some people have even set up, from an investment standpoint, they purchase land and then they've because it's not like you really need an infrastructure. So as long as they've got some bays and you've got land to put the trailers to clean and keep everything tidy, it's not, well, a lot of people use it as a secondary source of income later on, as an investment. They're using these assets to pay for this investment and
Got it.
they control that. A few of the other places, like Atlanta, they have three different office locations or three different, I guess, storage yards
Sure.
around Atlanta to kind of combat the traffic situation. Um, so it all depends, but we don't help facilitate that. A lot of people, they're entrepreneurs. They have their own mind of what they want to do, and we don't prohibit that. We encourage that. We want you to be, you know, an entrepreneur.
Okay. And then finally, you fill the tanks. You've had a great concert or, corporate event or,
Mm.
the bride and groom have flushed everything away and all their guests are leaving empty and satisfied. What do you do with all that? Where does that go? I mean, is there a local porta pot poopy dumping center? I mean, how do you, did you just call a
So
service to come out and empty them out? Like, how does that work?
yeah, actually, we a lot of times in the beginning we partner with a local septic tank company or local porta john company, where their primary service is the pumping of the trailers or the pumping of units. That they're whereas our primary service is the renting of the trailer. So a
Okay.
lot of these porta potty companies don't have restroom trailers, and you've got a different level of service that you're trying to keep things up to on. A porta potty is hey, we wash it out with a hose, whereas a restroom trailer, you get down on your hands and knees sometimes.
Yeah.
So you know, in the beginning, we partner with local porta potty companies and septic tank companies. And as we grow and we develop markets and we have more long-term rentals, we may buy our own pump trucks. Like my local office here in Savannah, I mean, we have 2,000-gallon pump trucks that we use to service those. And then we take it to the local municipality waste station.
Well, there's one thing for sure as we wrap this up. I would love for Mike Rowe to come visit you. I think that would be a really great episode of Dirty Jobs. I don't think he's doing it anymore, but man, what a great fit that would be. So, Mike, if you're hearing this, if you're seeing this, as you should, because it is just one of the greatest podcasts that's out there. All right. So, with that, do you have anything else that maybe is sage advice? Anything you want to tell the audience? Anything that we should know about the life of the man on the throne and what it is that we should know?
Like I said, Thomas, we're looking for franchise owners. We're looking to grow the business. We have a need in the Northeast bad. Thankfully, we just opened one in Marietta, Ohio. Brian Waller. We're really excited about him opening up there in that Ohio Valley. But we really need some people up in the Northeast. We just have tremendous amount of leads that we really don't do anything with. I mean, we sent one of our new vintage style trailers all the way up to Maine. We delivered it from Savannah, Georgia, all the way up to Maine,
Awful.
and that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It was like $7,000 just in delivery alone.
that's dumb. I mean, that's crazy.
So, yeah, I'd love for y'all to reach out to us at royalrestrooms.com, inquire about franchising needs, or if we can service you in any capacity, we would love to be a part of your event.
Well, as he has said it, as David put it, they are having an urge. Their gut is churning for more franchisees in the Northeast of the United States. So if you have that desire, if you feel the pull, the urge to get into a business like this, I highly recommend that you do get in contact. And I thank you all for watching the program. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for remembering to hit the subscribe button. give us a 5-star review, because anything less than that is completely unacceptable anyway. And we look forward to talking to you on the next episode. Thank you so much. And David, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet.